G'day guys, what's cracking? It's Ralph here, and today we're looking at Brightin Star's 60mm macro 1:2 ratio f2.8. 1:2 means that you have twice the magnification. So if it's 1:1, it will be real life on the sensor as it is on the lens, as it is in real life. 1:2 means you double the size of what you're shooting through the lens onto the sensor. This lens is a manual lens. The aperture is manual, so you can control the aperture here, you control the focus here, no autofocus and no f-stop on your reading or on your metadata afterwards. But trust me, it's a good fun way to experience photography. Now this lens works on the Nikon Z, the Sony E mount, the Fuji, the Canon M mount and the Canon M4/3. So having got all of that out of the way, let's see what this can do. And what I thought I'd do is just crack open some Orbeez. These little things they are a mess and they are fun and they bounce everywhere. I just got, I think it was 60,000 for 10 bucks. I'll put a link if you're just looking for something. So we're gonna get a light. This is the Wii light from Viltrox. We're gonna turn that up, we're gonna turn it upside down. I'm gonna place the Orbeez on it. Now the challenge of a 60mm is you have to go much closer to your subject to get it in focus than you do with say a 105mm macro lens. But it also lends itself more easily to portrait photography and other forms of photography that you might use a 60mm for, but you do have to get close. One of the losses of getting so close is you lose some of the creamy bokeh. Now obviously a macro lens you can use to shoot anything up close. You can use this to take insects or parts of the human body or anything you see around, anything you think that looks fascinating up close. I'd love to see more of that. That's what this lens is ideal for, but it's small, compact, it's made of metal. Here's a bit of a squiz at the lens, and what this means is it's quite compact. You can carry it around. The weight, well here's the weight, and so it is a bit of a challenge if you're thinking I just need a lightweight, a macro, but for all intents and purposes, let's have a look at the quality of what you can get out of this. So this is a brief look at my setup. This is a cheap tripod. It's from Newer, just does things like this, which are really handy. I actually use it to vlog with in my studio. Here's the lens and my Orbeez just in a glass and the light down here. It's propped up by some Apple boxes, and here's my monitor. Let's see what we can see through the lens. Here we go. Now the other thing you want to do when you're doing this sort of photography and filming it, if you're really interested, is turn your timers off on your camera so the display stays on for as long as you're using it. Otherwise your display turns off and your monitor stops recording. Very annoying. If I move this, look at this, right? So this zooms in and it's very, very close. So I need to pull it out till that first Orbeez that I like is in focus, and that goes to about, and I'm going to shoot that. Got a 2-second timer, so it enables the shot to happen. But then look, if I pull the focus back, look what happens. The other Orbeez underneath become in focus. It starts to look really, really interesting. So I might just shoot something like that. And now what I'm going to do is add some water to this little configuration. That will reflect the light more, and as you can see, it's automatically made it so much brighter. Now this is shooting on f2.8. I'm going to keep the shallow field of view. Often with say a 100mm macro lens, when it's shooting on f2.8, the field of focus is so tiny, it's actually quite frustrating, so you need to bump that out. Once you go to f16 or so, it starts to fragment with the light, like diffract the light, so you need to operate in the middle space. So far at 2.8, this is actually holding, and I think that's because it's a 60mm and the distance you have to use to focus. So keep in mind that we're looking at this sort of distance from this to your subject that you're photographing. All right, let's just increase the shutter speed. That looks cool, doesn't it? I'm just going to take a photo of that because it just looks cool. If we push it in more, see this one here? That's what I'm doing. I'm focusing on those little dots on it. Texture, I'm going to shoot that. Now I'm going to add some oil, and you'll see the value of adding oil in just a sec, but I will move it over. You've got to be careful with your gear, especially when you're using water and oil. I'm going to take a photo of that because that looks cool, and then I'm going to stir it up. I'm going to add some more water. There we go. That's looking really cool. Now I need to refocus. Shoot that. That looks so cool. All right, let's move that across. Oh, wow. This is just epic, isn't it? You're pumped? You're loving it? All right, let's swirl this around. I'm going to swirl it around, and then I'm going to shoot and take out the spoon. So here we go. Oh yes. Now let's pour a little bit of the water out. I can refocus past that. So the Orbeez have this translucent effect. And then let's just change the aperture now. So I manually change the aperture on the lens. Just by moving that. It makes things darker obviously, but it brings more into focus. That is now at an aperture of 11. I'm going to reduce my shutter speed. And then I'm going to bring this into focus. And I guess this is as much as a tutorial in macro as it is a review of this lens. But I hope that's really helpful. Obviously, if it's not, you're going to just see ya, already gone. And you can fiddle around by focusing back and forward to your heart's content to get that shot that you really want. Now I'm actually going to reduce the water again, and I'm going to put some more oil in. There you go, it's a bit of a run through about how you can use the Brightin Star 60mm f2.8 1:2 macro lens that's available for your camera today at kind of a ridiculous price for a macro lens, might I add. But as you can see, the quality is wonderful. Thanks Brightin Star for sending this to me. Really appreciate our partnership, and I'm really impressed with this lens. So if you're looking for a top-notch macro lens that's going to do the job at a budget price, so you can really get into macro photography, have an experiment and a play and learn the basics, then this is the way to go. And I'll leave a video next about how to shoot macro in all kinds of ways. Thanks very much for watching. See ya.